top stories this evening, sponsored by Courts, bringing value home. Sporadic protests across Guyana. 2 men shot and killed by police. Guyana under lockdown from 12:30 a.m. to 5 a.m. amidst countrywide protest. And Stroke Young out. KAMLA PERSAUD BISSESAR in. HGP Nightly News begins now. Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm Travis Chase with the Tuesday, April 29 edition of the HGP Nightly News. We have what you need to know this Tuesday evening. We begin our broadcast by telling you that 2 men have been shot and killed by police during violent protests and looting Monday evening. You'll have more details in this report. As the joint services were deployed to quell sporadic protests across Guyana, following the autopsy results of Adriana Young, police have shot and killed 2 men. In the first instance, police claim that in response to a report of a robbery at 7 p.m. Monday at Camp and Quamana Street, Georgetown, Orandi Samuel was shot and killed after he allegedly pointed a gun at them while fleeing a robbery scene. Police claim that during the pursuit, a police officer observed one of the suspects pulling a firearm from his waist and pointed it in his direction. In response, the rank, who was armed with a service weapon, discharged 1 round at the suspect. The suspect then ran west along Quamana Street before collapsing onto the roadway. He was rushed to the Georgetown Public Hospital, where he died while receiving treatment from a gunshot wound to his face. Allegedly, a Ruger 9mm pistol, along with 3 matching rounds of ammunition, was recovered next to him. However, Samuel relatives told the Nightly News that he was shot when riot squad opened fire to disperse a group of protesters who were outside the southern gate of the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, and that he was never part of the robbery. In a separate incident, Cordell Eastman, who is well known to police and who was allegedly involved in a robbery at a supermarket, was also killed by police. According to the cops, during a confrontation with a patrol inside the GST Chinese supermarket on Aubrey Barker Road and Blue Saki Drive, the alleged perpetrator was shot and killed. There were unconfirmed reports that a Glock 9mm pistol was recovered at the scene. During that incident, the lawmen reported that security guard Chevron Yearwood was shot to her left shoulder. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. Meanwhile, in the wake of widespread unrest triggered by the autopsy results of 11-year-old Adriana Young, the government of Guyana has moved to impose the national curfew to restore order and ensure public safety. Tiana Cole is on this story.
With the country in a state of unrest following Monday's autopsy results on 11-year-old Adriana Young, conducted by a 3-member forensic team, who concluded that she died by drowning. The fallout from the post-mortem report ignited protest activity that quickly escalated across several regions. Roads were blocked, fires were set, and several businesses were looted, plunging parts of the country into chaos. In response, the Ministry of Home Affairs announced on Tuesday that, in the interest of good order and public safety, a national curfew has been enforced. According to the gazetted order signed by Minister of Home Affairs Robson Ben, there shall be no public meetings, gatherings, or assemblies of persons, or no processions or marches in any public place between the hours of 12:30 a.m. and 5 a.m. During a press briefing at State House on Monday evening, President Irfan Ali addressed the nation and called for calm and respect for the rule of law. He emphasized that individuals involved in looting and destruction will be prosecuted, noting that the security forces are reviewing photos and videos to identify suspects.
There's a lot of images already captured of persons who are creating destruction along the roadways, public and private property, and those persons will be prosecuted.
The Guyana Police Force has already begun issuing wanted bulletins via its official Facebook page, featuring photos of individuals wanted for the offense of inciting public terror under the Criminal Law Offences Act. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Tiana. Stay with us. There is more news ahead. Welcome back to HGP Nightly News as we continue to track this story. Following the autopsy of 11-year-old Adriana Young, widespread unrest erupted across Guyana, and President Irfan Ali, in a national address on Monday, revealed that the false information initially released to the public, stating that Young left the hotel in a car, was provided by a civilian in the police control center. And he has urged citizens to remain calm and respect the rule of law. Tiana Cole is on this story.
Following the announcement of the autopsy report on 11-year-old Adriana Young, which determined that she died as a result of drowning, chaos erupted across several regions. Protesters blocked roads, set fires, and looted businesses. During a press conference at State House on Monday evening, the president addressed the nation, explaining that the initial report, which claimed Young had left the hotel in a car, came from a civilian stationed at a police control center.
From what was provided to me, in that control center, there was a civilian who was working also. And the civilian, because the control centers have civilians also, would have been the one who provided the information that was inaccurate.
While urging calm and respect for the rule of law, President Ali emphasized that individuals involved in looting and destruction will be brought before the courts. He said the security forces are reviewing emerging images and videos to identify suspects.
There's a lot of images already captured of persons who are creating destruction along the roadways, public and private property, and those persons will be prosecuted.
The head of state further noted that the government would examine laws and SOPs relating to public security, surveillance, and safety measures in public spaces, such as the presence of security cameras and protocols at public pools. He said the goal is to modernize these systems to keep pace with the country's growth.
It is very clear to me as president that the events surrounding this entire sad situation is definitely a point of examination and re-examination of a number of things.
Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
We tell you now that an outspoken woman has been detained by police for allegedly inciting public terror. Robin Simon believes she's a target of the People's Progressive Party civic government. Robin Simon, one of several persons wanted by police for allegedly inciting public terror, presented herself to the police Tuesday morning at the Criminal Investigations Department. Simon told Nightly News that since this is her second encounter with the police, she believes that she's being targeted by law enforcement authorities because of her position as an executive member of the People's National Congress Reform.
I don't see this as nothing but harassment, because the first time I was here and a wanted bulletin was issued for me was with Quindon Bacchus's protest. Because I protested, a wanted bulletin was issued and I was charged with act of terrorism.
The police is accusing Simon of instigating protest action countrywide as calls mount for swift justice to be served following the death of Adriana Young, whose body was retrieved from a pool at the Doubleday Hotel at Tushin on the east bank of Essequibo.
I was on Tool protest line for the past few days. I said nothing that was wrong to cause me to be here this morning or for a wanted bulletin to issue.
Simon vowed that her voice will not be silenced by the Guyana Police Force in her quest for justice and a better Guyana.
Because I know that I'm a strong PNC member, a strong APNU member, and I have a big voice, the PPP government will forever target me. So I am not surprised. I'm really not surprised. This is my country. This is my home. The people of Guyana are our people. We have to, at some point in time, use our voices and our platforms for the truth.
The outspoken politician was taken to the East Penitence Police Station and placed into the lockups, where she's expected to be charged and placed before a magistrate. The Guyana Police Force could not say which specific incident they have linked to the detainment of Simon. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. Leader of the opposition says that the party supports the fight for justice following the announcement of Adriana Young's autopsy results. Daisy Richards will tell you more.
On Monday, the results of 11-year-old Adriana's post-mortem was released, stating that she had died from drowning. This caused havoc in regions all across Guyana. Opposition leader Aubrey Norton says that the current situation in Guyana is due to the type and quality of information the Guyana Police Force is feeding to the public. He added that the opposition is in support of the fight for justice.
It's a multi-ethnic protest movement, and the government is uncomfortable with that. We note that the government is doing everything to suggest that it's a political protest.
Norton alleged that the People's Progressive Party Civic has been recruiting persons who have had a head-on collision with the law.
That they are using 10-day workers and criminal elements to penetrate the protests so that they can create mayhem and then blame it on the APNU, PNCR.
He added that the PNC is not involved in any of the violent protests or looting and does not support it.
Let it be made very clear. We do not support the looting. We do not support the destruction of property. We are fully in support of this struggle for justice.
For HGP Nightly News, I am Daisy Richards.
You're watching the HGP Nightly News. Stay with us. There is more news ahead. Thanks for staying tuned to the HGP Nightly News. We tell you now that President Irfan Ali, on behalf of the people of Guyana, has congratulated Prime Minister-elect of Trinidad and Tobago, KAMLA BISSESAR, on her victory in Monday's general elections in Trinidad and Tobago. President Ali said that Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago share a strong friendship, both at the bilateral level and within CARICOM. He said he looks forward to Guyana's continued collaboration to strengthen relations and work towards shared goals of advancing regional integration, economic development, and the well-being of the people of the region. The opposition in the Caribbean twin island nation of Trinidad and Tobago has won a decisive victory in Monday's parliamentary election. Preliminary results suggest the win by the UNC party means that KAMLA BISSESAR will be appointed as the next prime minister. The 73-year-old already held the post once before, from 2010 to 2015, but her party was defeated in the last two elections by the People's National Movement PNM. Preliminary results suggest the UNC, which campaigned on a promise to raise wages and create employment, managed to win a number of parliamentary seats previously held by the PNM. The father of Adriana Young and the leader of the Alliance for Change have added their voices for an end of the violent protests and looting following the 11-year-old's death. Daisy Richards will tell you more.
Speaking on TikTok, father of 11-year-old Adriana Young, Sir Brian Young, is calling for an end to the violence following his child's death. The teary-eyed father explained that his child was never a child who was a fan of violence.
Violence, body. We daughter don't want the body. My daughter will never ever want that. My daughter used to go to church every Sunday, body.
He pleaded with people to stop the destruction and carry on peacefully with protests.
All of them who continue doing the things I'm going to do yesterday to last night, yeah, please stop. Begging you, yeah, stop. I'm hard.
Meanwhile, leader of the Alliance for Change, Nigel Hughes, took to his Facebook page and speaking on the findings post young Adriana's autopsy, highlighted that many questions still remain unanswered. He added, quote, "We must also strongly condemn the acts of violence, the destruction of property, the looting and the blocking of public roads that have followed the announcement of these findings," unquote. Pointing out that the actions undermine the cause of justice and will not honor Adriana's memory, quote, "Violence, lawlessness, and disorder must never be the response to grief or outrage, not in Adriana Young's name," unquote. For HGP Nightly News, I am Daisy Richards.
Thank you, Daisy. Stay tuned for your regional news.
Good evening and welcome to Tuesday's edition of the Regional News. In the face of intensifying security threats and a rapid evolving geopolitical and geo-economic landscape, the Caribbean Community CARICOM Implementation Agency for Crime and Security Impacts has officially commenced the process of developing a new CARICOM Security Strategy, CSS. The initiative began with the inaugural meeting of the CSS Steering Committee, which was convened virtually on April 24, 2025. This high-level gathering is a critical step toward crafting a strategic, forward-looking, and cohesive regional security framework that is responsive to current and future challenges in the Caribbean region. The CSS will serve as the region's principal policy instrument for guiding countries, regional and international entities in response to the growing range of security threats in the Caribbean. This strategy will reflect current geopolitical realities, align with regional development priorities, and integrate emerging issues such as artificial intelligence (AI), while embedding rights and responsibility-based approaches and public health-informed frameworks. It would also drive the modernization and strengthening of national and regional security institutions to ensure greater adaptability, resilience, and effectiveness. In a stunning political upset that has redrawn the political map of Trinidad and Tobago's, the United National Congress UNC, led by KAMLA PERSAUD BISSESAR, has swept to victory in the April 28th general election, toppling the People's National Movement (PNM) from government after a decade in power. The UNC's triumph was built on a groundswell of public discontent and a meticulously executed social media and promotional campaign that broke through long-standing political barriers of race, class, and geography. PERSAUD BISSESAR will be Prime Minister for a second time and lead into Parliament a group of incumbents, new faces, and several coalition partners. The result was known before 10 p.m. A lawyer for 10 Venezuelan men sent by the U.S. government to a prison in El Salvador says the Salvadoran government denied her access to meet with her clients. Carrie Kennedy, a human rights activist who is the daughter of assassinated U.S. politician Robert F. Kennedy and niece of former U.S. President John F. Kennedy, told reporters during a trip to El Salvador on Monday that the Salvadoran government did not respect her client's right to meet with their lawyer. More than 250 Venezuelans were deported from the United States to a maximum security Salvadoran prison beginning of March under an agreement through which the United States is paying El Salvador to hold the prisoners. The U.S. administration alleges the people it deported are gang members and it can deport them under the 18th century wartime law. But lawyers and family members say their clients and loved ones are innocent and were deprived of due process. Thank you for watching. I am Tiana Cole.
Sporadic protests across Guyana. 2 men shot and killed by police. Guyana under lockdown from 12:30 a.m. to 5 a.m. amidst countrywide protest. And Strout Young out, KAMLA PERSAUD BISSESAR in. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm Travis Chase. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.